Hello, hello, hello. And we are live. Thank you everyone for tuning in to this very special episode of EKL, Electric Kingdom Live. We are here live from our office with someone that many of you should probably recognize. We're here with Caterina. Do you want to say hi?
Hi. Is it on?
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Okay. Hi.
Thank you so much for being here. We're really excited to have you here today. And does anyone else want to introduce themselves? Just because y'all are in the shot.
I'm Johnny.
Hi, I'm Patsy.
Hi, I'm Katie.
Yay, thanks for being here, guys. Later on today, we're going to have a mix from Johnny himself in about an hour or so. And we're here today because Caterina got her start at WVUM in a way. And yeah, she's just become a very important person in the Miami music scene through 3 Points and Space Miami, which you guys are probably aware of by now. And for anyone that is tuning in for the giveaway, we will be talking about the rules after the interview, so just make sure you stay tuned. And yeah, we can start. So first of all, I just wanted to ask you kind of how you got your start at WVUM and if you have like a memory that you can share about when you first joined.
Okay, so the chapter of WVUM that I went through was so short, but like so thick. I joined my senior year, which is funny because I had tried to join sophomore year, but like something really weird happened where someone in like the same group of people that joined like started stalking me, so I like stopped coming altogether.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
And then yeah, my senior year I like tried to come back. I don't even remember like who it was that I think it was Eman maybe, because me and him started working at Space together my junior year. And so I think he had told me to come and hang out, and then I started like meeting everyone like Ale, and I was already familiar with the station because I was a fan. So it was kind of like, okay, like I'm gonna like dip my toe in. And I was a really big fan of EKL and Locals Only, which like by the time I started at UM I think was already dead. But
Yeah,
it had like always, it kind of was the beginning of me caring about local music, which like that's like a whole other thing, the local bit, which is why I started the show Based, which Johnny was actually my first guest. I started it my senior year as a specialty show after doing 1 year of the normal radio thing, and I had my co-host Jordy. We had really like honestly really good rapport, and I took her on that journey with me because she was really we just had a really good flow with people. And then the pandemic hit. And then we took it online, and then we took it to Dub Lab, and that was that. But the history for me with WVUM goes like from before I was a member, so it was all kind of like super fulfilling, even though I didn't even get to spend it mostly here because of COVID.
And how did you guys kind of like brainstorm the first episode of Based? Like, were you and Johnny already friends, or did you just know of him in the scene?
Well, when I joined the station, I already knew that I wanted to do the specialty show. I knew that Locals Only was done and like had been for a while, and I wanted to like revive it. I was already working at the club at the time, and I think that was around the time that me and Johnny actually started being friends. So I had like a little bit of more of like confidence or like confianza, like I don't know, I just like trusted him more to be like, hey, like I'm gonna do this thing, like I would really want you to be my first guest, and I still had it in my head as Locals Only. Yeah. And he literally didn't say anything except for, I'm not gonna go on your show if it's called Locals Only. And then we had this whole conversation about how like that word is just like a little bit of like a box for Miami based or like any city based artists, because it kind of just like keeps you in that like, oh yeah, they're just local, without like the idea that it could like expand. So it became like Miami based, and that's why we called it Based. And I picked Johnny as my first guest because I was already close to him, and it was just like inspired, like the conversation, he named it, like the whole bit, it just like felt about right. But yeah, I had the idea for the show, and then me and Jordy like really just hit it off. So when I pitched it in front of everyone, like I was just like, I'm gonna do it with her. Yeah, it kind of popped off real fast.
And is that kind of where you started, like, gaining experience with marketing and, like, designing graphics?
Well, I had started working at the club about a year before, and I started as like a marketing intern for Space, which was literally like just intern work. It's like collecting pictures for social media and like emailing people and dee. And so that was like my background. And Space was, even though it's been around for so long, like my bosses at the time were so like new and fresh. It's like working at a startup. So it was just very like touch and go. I was learning like a little bit more than marketing at the time. And then when I got the show, it was kind of like an opportunity to do something outside of what I was learning with the club and more aligned with like the things that I actually really liked, which was the community. And then, yeah, it was one of those things that like, I took one class for graphic design because it was part of my major, but like, you know, like one class isn't really like the thing that does it for you. It was, for me, it was doing the show, having to make a flyer every week, and I would make it like different for every single artist depending on like their vibe and ddd. So that's kind of how I like learned how to do graphic design and the social media bit, which I really like don't like doing, but when it was popping off, it was just so simple to like. I did make merch.
I saw the merch, yeah, like the world symbol.
I made a lot of merch, especially during the pandemic. I got a Cricut, or my roommate had a Cricut, and I would just buy a bunch of like heat transfer vinyl, and I would thrift shirts from Lucas, the database, also WVUM royalty. I would buy them in bulk, and I would just throw the logo on them and sell them during the pandemic because I needed to make money.
You seem like you're very like hands-on, like even today. I mean, I see like when you post like your design process for like Floyd flyers, and you just like to be like very physically interactive with like what you do.
I think that my practice has always been like definitely like based in like what's real and like what's physical, especially when it comes to like my art. I'm very hands-on. I like crafting. I like that kind of stuff. So yeah, with particularly with the Suerto flyers, because those are really the only flyers I do for the club these days, the ones for my own party, I definitely almost every single time try to include like one physical element to make it like, to give it that like hyper realistic feel.
And I also wanted to ask you, because you mentioned that you started working at Space before you were more involved in WVUM. So were you kind of just like looking at different marketing internships, or were you just like looking for something that was community and like locally musically involved?
There's like a little bit of context to this. I had never been to a club before I turned, like I went to Space for the first time when I was 19 with my friend Jordan, and I had never been like in nightlife before at all, and I found it to be very like interesting in the sense that I was like curious about like what made people want to go here, and like people are enjoying themselves, and like I know that they're drinking and they're doing things and whatever, but it was more so like I liked being in the environment and watching it turn into like a thing. Like a party like turns into like a wave of people, and then when you get it consistent, it's like a really beautiful thing, and then sometimes it dissipates and whatever. Like I was really interested in just like that because I wasn't really of age to drink. So I started going to the club. I then studied abroad in Prague. I did like the program here, and when I was gone, I knew that when I came back I needed to have a job lined up. At this time my mom had made me switch my major to PR because philosophy wasn't going to give me a job, she said, and so I moved to PR program, and I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna get a PR internship. So I'm like in Prague, like applying to internships so that I can have one by the time I get back. And Coloma, my boss now, tweeted, I'm looking for somebody to join the team with marketing and philosophy experience. DM me if this is you. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is actually dumb. So I DM'd him, obviously, and like we exchanged some words. I don't even think I sent him a resume. I think I sent him an email he was like, send me some of your writing. And I wrote him about my entire trip to Prague, and we had one phone call, and he hired me the day that I flew back from Prague, and I started working the week after.
And did you ask him like why he was looking for someone philosophy oriented specifically?
I never asked him, but he's definitely a bit heady, and he doesn't take a traditional approach to like anything at all. And kind of like what I mentioned before, it's a bit of like a startup vibe, maybe like a little bit less now, but at that time, because it's like it's these three guys, like these promoters and business owners who like came up on a nightclub that has like years of history behind it and now have like a real team. So they, I don't know, like there was no like guidebook to do it, and he's never been somebody to do anything in a traditional way. So like I never asked him. It just made sense when I met him. I was like, of course, like you want someone who's not like a robot of like the machine or whatever. He wanted like somebody who could like think expansively, I guess.
And by that point, did you already like know a lot of people in space? Like, did you already kind of feel connected to like the rest of the team?
At that point, I knew the characters, but they didn't know me. So like I knew Johnny. He just said he didn't know me. You knew me, but you just didn't acknowledge me, which is different, but we can talk about that some other time. I knew all the familiar faces at the club. I knew Alexis. I had met Coloma prior to, like, just from going to the club in that same vein. And my friend Jordan and we would go literally to, I don't, like, the word network is, like, icky, but, like, that's what we would go do. We would go and we would go, like, meet the people who, like, we would run into. He had, like, his group of friends. And I don't know, it kind of just, like, kept on building up this momentum of, like, you're meeting the people who are there all the time. And at that point, I also knew David Sinopoli, who's one of my other bosses, but only through, like, me begging him for a job at 3 Points. So, which didn't happen. So...
And then just kind of quickly, like, I wanted to ask, because, like, since you're here, did officially Space Miami come first, or was it Johnny from space? Like, are you Johnny from outer space, or are you Johnny from Space Miami?
I'm definitely Johnny from Space Miami.
Okay, I gotcha.
Space. It came from the club. It was kind of like I was learning how to DJ, and I guess like they were trying to take me more seriously, but I wasn't really taking it very seriously. And they were just basically like, you need to come up with a name, and I just didn't really know what to say or come up with. I just thought everything was kind of whack. And I didn't want to call myself by my real name, and so someone was just like, well, because at the time I was working hospitality for the club, amongst many other things, but, yeah, well, like when I would like reach out to a DJ that was in town or something, I'm like, hey, this is Johnny from space. Let me know if you need something.
It caught on.
And so, yeah, like, you know, it kind of you can't just be like, hey, it's Johnny, and never have any prior conversation with this person. So it's like, who's this random person hitting me up? So yeah, I'd be like, hey, this is Johnny from space. Like, let me know. Welcome to Miami. Let me know if you need something. And so it kind of just stuck. Someone suggested it. I thought it was super ridiculous at the time, and they just were like very insistent on it, and it kind of just stuck.
So you didn't like get into DJing and producing until after like working at Space?
No, I was into producing for a while, since like I think a little bit before I started working at the club, but the DJ thing kind of just came naturally after I started working at the club, because it just kind of became a necessity to know how to DJ, because I was working really long hours at the club, and situations would come up where like someone's got to close the club, someone can't close the club, you know, the DJ is too wiped, he wants to go home, and like the room's really full, or like someone's really late and someone's got to DJ until the DJ gets there. And so yeah, I just kind of, and everyone was like around me was a DJ, so it just kind of became like the natural response was to just learn how to DJ. And so I just had access to the club, and so I would just leave the office after working in the office, and I would just practice at the club by myself. And yeah, I just taught myself, and also just watching my favorite DJs from behind them, just watch them DJ, and I kind of just picked it up just watching them, to be honest.
Yeah, that's like the best way to do it, just like watching people.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to like learn through like words or something. I'm just kind of more of like a practical, like just looking at something and just looking at how it works, and then I just kind of apply it, and then just figuring it out. So yeah.
All right. Thanks for clearing that up. Because I honestly was just wondering that for a long time, like which came first, like Space or Johnny. Yeah.
So what is that? Would that be the egg?
You, the chicken or the egg? You're the egg. Because
That's like the whole point. It's like both at the same time.
So the chicken came first.
The chicken and Space came first.
I'm simply the egg.
But going back to like hosting Based, and I also wanted to know like what your process for curating the artists that you would have featured was like with you and Jordy.
When we started the show, like I said, I had the intention already. So going to the club and like meeting all these people and befriending everyone, I kind of already was starting to build like this web of like things that I was interested within the scene and the community. And I also, when I was in college, when I lived in South Miami in particular, I never wanted to be in South Miami. I would straight up get on the metro and I would get off on the 11th Street station and I would sit at the corner or all day and I would just peep game. I would literally be like, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And that's like, I just started identifying. And over there at the time, it was like I met Merboudi. I just like met a lot of people. And then Jordy, on the other hand, was like tapped into like this, like a more like label tied thing. Cause she had like an internship. I don't remember what label. So she was like, she had like a grasp on more of like what was going on in like the funk or like R&B world. So we kind of would take turns and like picking who would go. And obviously like I picked Johnny first, and then I think it was like Marcos G, and then we went to Hot Tension, and then it was just like we would decide mutually based on like this list. I think we had a list was what it was, and then we would just ask. But yeah, it was just definitely like, oh, I see you, I make the list, and then we would pick over and over. And I kind of tried to keep it at one point consistent within like groups of people. So like I know that it was like Bear, Nick, Cell, like Coffin Text, like a lot of them, like if you look at the names, like it kind of, I don't know, it has like its own little like storyline.
Yes, I mean, that was basically when we were doing like space tapes. And so there was like a few of us kind of lined up and putting out music. I mean, at that time it was like the community was like a little bit smaller. It wasn't as big as it is now. So I think it was just kind of easier to just like group all of us together. Yeah, and I do remember one time she kind of came at me. She was just like, not come at me, but like she came to me asking me, you know, who should I have on the bit. So I was just like, well, you should do Bear. He's a really good friend of mine, and it had Lando, and everyone was everyone is super talented, and everyone was doing amazing work at the time. So it kind of just made sense.
Did you also have to deal with like just a bunch of random like local people hitting you up, like wanting to be like on Base?
Yeah, absolutely. And like we would listen and like make discernible decisions, you know, like and it was never like anything like, oh, I don't want you there, but it would be like a friendly like, okay, we'll keep you in mind. And at the end of the day, I never thought that I was gonna like uncover all of it.
Yeah, of course.
There's so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of people hitting. I actually like logged in the other day to the account for the first time years easily, and all the DMs are like, hey, is this still like around? Like I would love to participate. And it's like 2 years, like 3 years ago. I'm like, oh
yeah, because there was no like official goodbye post, because I was looking through the Instagram, kind of just like cuts off.
The pandemic kind of threw us in a loop, and you know, Florida opened, Jordy like moved to LA, and I had to start working. Like Florida opened, the club was open in October after we shut down in May, and since we were doing it remote, like I couldn't handle it anymore, and it kind of just like it stopped. I wish it hadn't in that way, but I think, you know, the fact that there's an archive is like still cool, and I still to this day like I would love if like it could get passed on. I always think about like WVUM shows and how like they get passed on, like this one. I always like wanted that for Base, but I feel like the pandemic kind of just like made it a weird little pause, and I was like, okay, you can like live in this like glass enclosure and we can keep you on the shelf and just like praise you for what you were.
I see. Wow, that must have been like just difficult to deal with because obviously it's something that you like put a lot of time and effort and was like your concept majority. But moving on to more like your marketing experience, can you talk about what that kind of is like at Space and at 3 Points and just like your marketing strategies, I guess, that you use?
So it's actually really not funny, but this year is like the first year that I officially have like a official title within the 3 Points like marketing team, whereas before it was just very much like catch all. Like if there's like a thing that I could do, I would just pick it up and take it and whatever. It also comes with just like the festival scaling up, so like we kind of took it a little more serious year after year, and I was brought on this year like officially with like a title and everything. And the thing with like a festival, which we see with like major campaigns like Basil or like Hocus Pocus or whatever at the club, is that like when you have a project that has like a beginning and an end, you can like tack little things inside of it and like adorn it and just have like these moments. And then the club, which is what I'm extremely used to, is like a straight up never ending machine. And I don't say that in like a bad way, but like once the club turned on, like it's like, okay, every week 4 shows at Floyd, 2 shows at the ground, let's go, keep going. So you have to do like all of the things that pertain to like those shows. And it's been like really I don't know, it's been kind of crazy dealing with both sides of it, especially after the club's been closed for those months. But I think actually this year is the first time that I feel like super confident in my position as like a marketer, where I feel like organized. I feel like I have like strategies. I feel like I have plans. It's also kind of the first time that I feel like I have a team under me. I started as like a little baby intern jit, who was like getting hazed at the club. They'd be like, take the shot, we're gonna go to every bartender and you're gonna take a shot with every single bartender. I'd be like, okay, let's do it. And I 19 or 20 whatever, and now I'm like, I have my jits and like I have my team and I can like, I don't haze them, but I I nurture them. I tell them what to do, tell them to come to my party. But I won't haze them. Yeah, I don't know. It's been, I feel like I stepped into like my big girl pants this year with it.
Nice. And can you, 3 Points and Space, are both very like community oriented, always on the lookout for like local talent. So can you kind of just like speak to that aspect of it, and like the work that you guys do with like community outreach?
I think that's like the most fulfilling part of our job, at least like for me. I work very closely with Alexis Sister System. I work with Johnny a lot. I work with Santi Truvine. Katie Dorney is now in the mix, and it's really about like not closing yourself off. Obviously like there's always gonna be like critique within like who gets booked for what, but like we really try. I mean, I don't know, I try to stay on like on top of it, or like we all kind of do like open house for like 3 Points is like legendary stuff, at least like I've always thought. So like you get the opportunity to like turn in work, and like we're all sitting there in the office listening to it and being like, this kind of hot, like let's bring them on. And then you get to play a festival like though, and we, I don't know, again, like this is not something that we ever got like a guidebook for. Like we're all kind of building this like as the years go by, like different processes and procedures. But it's really about, I mean, not to be corny, but it's really about like keeping an open mind. Like, I mean, Lola's not here, but Lola and Zaina, like that for me was just like peeping game. I'm like, okay, I see these names all the time, like what's going on? And then Lola reaches out and I'm seeing like you're playing here, you're throwing this party, you're doing this flyer, you're taking these pictures, and I'm like, okay, like you're lit, you're putting in the work. That's kind of like, at least for me, that's always been like my my number one like credential. If I see you putting in the work, if I see you like everywhere doing the thing and like hustling, yeah, because that's what it is, it's hustling, because closed mouths don't get fed. So that's always been for me, like besides obviously like being good at what you do or whatever, it's definitely like how hard do you want this, because that's how you get it, But that's like my credential personally.
And were there like any challenges when it came to, and this can be from like any year of like 3 points, but were there any like particularly like difficult challenges that you faced in any of the years with the planning, and just like the way that you were contributing to the planning?
Yeah, COVID was definitely the hardest year, I would say, for any of us.
Then there was the Zika year.
No, but I wasn't there yet.
The Zika year.
No, but in terms of planning, I think COVID would like
Does
threw
anyone
us
else
into
remember
a
the Zika year?
loop. Nah, the Zika. I wasn't a part of the team yet, but the COVID year like threw us in for a loop real bad. Like just starting with the fact that I had to like switch, whatever. You have to like open a festival with like all of these like crazy standards that weren't there before, like the social distancing stuff. So like there's like city stuff and like safety stuff and like this stuff and that stuff, and then like really scary. The biggest year that we had up until that point too. So it's just like you're dealing with like a whole other situation, and like you just don't get things right sometimes. I mean, we had like this whole water situation. It was crazy. But we kind of bounced back. The Watergate situation was real crazy. But then we got water fountains the year after, and we all won. We all won that battle. But I would say that was definitely like the hardest year for like on all fronts, just to like get out of the COVID bit and like scale up, which thank God like we did. We made it.
And what was that like? Because obviously like you guys weren't mandating masks, or were you?
No, but
were you just like
the state
running?
wasn't. I think what it was yeah, that's what it was. Everyone was like mad that we weren't mandating masks.
Basically, like the whole country was just like, you got to wear masks, and like Governor DeSantis was like, nah. So everyone outside of Florida was kind of looking at us super crazy, and meanwhile we're just kind of like, well, we can't really force people because Governor Ron DeSantis basically said that we can't force people to wear masks, because they were kind of just like not really believing into it. And so that was really hard. So we couldn't really like make people wear masks. We could just like suggest it.
I mean, I don't think people who were trying to go to the music festival weren't trying to wear a mask.
I mean,
either,
also that's kind of really hard to do. Yeah.
No, but I remember they were checking the cards.
Oh, the vaccination
but like
cards.
checking means like, oh, you got the piece of paper, go. So
I do like remember that vaguely.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that year is a blur.
A blur for everybody.
Yeah.
Wow. But moving on to Suero, which is your party that you started at Floyd. I was wondering about, kind of how the origins of that were like, and just kind of like what inspired you to start it.
So actually, we started it. It was Brian, DJ Python, Nick Leon, and myself. It actually started, if I remember correctly, we had like this super last minute opening Basel 2021. It was like a Thursday that didn't get booked, and I was talking to Nick, and Nick and Brian had just like become like super tight at that time, and Nick was just like, why don't they let us play? And I was just like, I don't know, let me go ask. Like, we're like a week out from like the date. I was like, I might as well. Like, they were trying to put offers for like big, like whatever talent, but it's like too late. Like, you're a week away from Basel. Like, what are you gonna do? So I like go to David and I'm like, I have a plan. And he lets us do it. It actually pops off. It was Martin Booty Spoon as well. And that wasn't technically a Suero, but it was like a proof of concept. I was like, okay, the boys can do it. Like, people showed up. It was lit. Like, let's run it. And then when it got brought up again, Nick is kind of like definitely close with like the 3 Points fam, and we are close. So like it was kind of just like Nick wanted the residency, and it just like worked. And we wanted to have I also wanted a project, so it kind of was also really beautiful to have something for myself to like pursue within the company, because like y'all have Odd and you're also a DJ. I'm not a DJ.
Brian's also from Miami, so
Brian's
I think we were trying to also connect him back into the city, because Brian kind of grew up in New York for a really long time, so it was just kind of also a way to like
not grew up, he like lived his adult life.
He lived for a while, so it was kind of like also another way to like reintegrate him back into the city that he is from, essentially.
Well, I also just wanted something to do within the thing, and so Nick was the one who came up with the name. That was his idea. And then I remember I sat with with our friend Lewis at the time, and I sat there. I had my computer plugged into like his TV that's like that big, and I was trying to figure out the logo for like the first one, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? And I just like I wrote out the name. I did it a few times, and like all of the drafts that I have from the first one always have like that element of like the hyperrealism, or just like this like heavenly thing, or like something that like almost looks real but like not quite. And it kind of just like stuck that way, at least for me. And like I said, like I'm not a DJ. I really just wanted something to like give a home to visually. And like me and Nick, I feel like kind of are tied creatively on a lot of things, where like I get his vision and I think he gets mine. So like executing something that I thought that everyone would like was very easy for me, and the boys are easy. So it's really beautiful. Like we're all tight enough, and they kind of take care more of like the music curation, and then I come in with like the local suggestions, or like me and Nick do that. And yeah, it became a quarterly, and it's also just like exercising my right, I guess. I'm just like, if I have this platform, like why not do it, you know? So it was pretty much that.
And what was the inspiration behind the name?
I think he was in Mexico, and like Suero, like the drink, it's
Yeah.
like a Pedialyte. I think that was what it was, if I remember correctly. But that's what it was. I remember I got a text and he was like, it's this, like this is the name of the thing, like I got it, it's done. And I was like, okay. And like I said, like the elements were always the same. It's like, you know, heaven, or like water, fire, like these really like elements. So it kind of just made sense. Also, there was a definite lack of, I don't want to call it a Latin party, because it's not. Like we've booked people like Anne's, and we've had different sounds. And the way that Brian actually, the quote that I always like cling to is that he was like, it's a night of varied contemporary music, which is true.
Yeah,
Like,
it keeps it like open
Facts.
format.
yeah, it's not supposed to be like a Latin party, but definitely when it began, there was like Brian and Nick would play like more like reggaeton leaning, because people kind of like, no one was doing that at Floyd, because no one was allowed to, because they were, or not allowed to, but they weren't booking people that would do that, you know? Like my bosses were very and it's nothing on them. It's just like, you know, you're used to something, and like that's what kind of like we're there for, like the generation. You know, you hire people because you're supposed to trust them. So like we kind of push them, and we were like, it's gonna be fine. Like the room's gonna pop off. They're like, that sound doesn't work in that room. The sound works. The sound works in the room.
No, it definitely
baby.
does.
It went crazy.
It went crazy in the room, and that's pretty much what happened. Yeah.
Have you guys been more open, because Pero del Futuro and like all these other local parties, you know, are having more opportunity to have shows there? So has that kind of like opened up more in recent years?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, it's definitely been like a proof of concept thing, even with like Odd, like what you guys do. Like it just like, it gives us a chance to be like, look, it works, like let's let other people in, you know what I'm saying? It, and at the end of the day, like
You just gotta try.
yeah, you just gotta try. And also like we know it's like hard to do it in Miami. We don't have like warehouses, or like a million warehouses to just like break into and like throw a little rave or whatever. Like we've got cops, and we've got city, and we've got code, and the moment they smell something, they're gonna come to you and they're gonna find you. So like it's just like, we have the space, we have like a way to do it. Like why not? I mean, we have, yeah, I don't know, it's just it only makes sense to bring in the people that we know and we trust to like give a home to like their party. It's like the only way to make it sustainable for them too, like, you know. I think everyone here probably knows that like doing parties isn't like no one does it because they want to be a millionaire.
Yeah,
You know,
obviously
like
not, yeah.
you do it because you love it. You do it because you want to bring people together. You do it because you want to bring music. Like you never do it because you're like, I want to make $1 million. Like that's never the goal of the party. The goal of the party, sometimes it's actually like, let me just break even and hope that everyone has a good time.
And I guess I also wanted to ask you kind of about like your own personal style, and just kind of like what influences your fashion choices, which, you know, I love, of course. But yeah, I saw you wear a lot of like Jean Paul Gaultier and, you know, just like other notable like designers.
You name dropped the Piatori, which like shout out Piatori. I when it comes to my personal style, I like being sexy. Like that's literally like number one. It's big gasp. He goes, yeah.
I mean, that's what Miami's all about.
Exactly. You know what? At the end of the day, like I'm trying to embody like this, the only thing that I know, which is this. Like I grew up in South Florida. I live here. Like this is what I know. I'm Venezuelan. Like this is just like it. So I've always just tried to like be sexy, but also like, I don't know, like incite curiosity. But at the same time, like comfortable. Like if you've seen me out, you've seen me wear this LA apparel jumpsuit that I own in 8 colors because I'm going to wear it 4 times a week in different colors. And the boot, like I'm very much about like it's not even like, I don't know if it's like loyalty. Well, I guess like with people like Piatori, like yeah, I love buying her stuff because I love being like, yeah, it's all Piatori. Like I'll wear the whole outfit. I'll be like, yeah, she's a designer from Florida. You should give me your phone. I'm gonna put it in your phone. I like doing that. Like that's sick. But the JPG, I mean, that's just having good taste, you know.
Facts. And do you kind of find that like, I guess, influencing how you choose to dress like when you work at Space? Like is there kind of like a certain like vibe or energy that you try to like embody?
Definitely. I mean, it's actually funny. Like, I don't know if Haley's tuning, but Haley's one of my jits, and she's a superstar. She's like the social media superstar right now. And we were doing like a bit the other day that she wanted to like film like what's everyone's favorite thing about working at Space. And for me, I love going into the office dressed literally however I desire. I literally pull up there the same way. Sometimes I pull up wearing outfits that I wear to the club, which is like, it's not as violent as you think, but like I just like being able to just like do my thing and like no one tell me anything. But when it comes to like going to the club, I try not to be an outfit repeater of my own terms. Like if I'm trying to like be low key, then yeah, I'll wear this outfit a million times. But if it's like suero, I'm gonna pull up on an outfit. And like same with the other night at Berraca's Hands Off. Like I'm trying to like embody something. I'm trying to like make people look. That's always kind of like the bit, trying to make people look. And there's definitely like a vibe at Space that I'm trying to like. When I was working, I would try to wear the all black thing, but like still make it work. You know, I don't know. Again, it's just always about like being sexy and being comfortable.
It's constant flexing.
Yeah, just being like, I don't know, just, and if I'm wearing something that I'm not comfortable in, we're out. Like I will literally go back home. Having a studio next to the club has changed my life, because if I go out and I'm not comfortable in like what I'm wearing, I will literally just walk over to my studio and.
I'm not gonna lie, after that Japan trip, your drip skyrocketed exponentially.
I got the Vivienne Westwood hoodie from Japan. That's what we're talking about
okay.
here. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
And
too,
and how do you see, I guess, like in this year's 3 points? Because I don't know if it's been officially put out there, but I know there's talks of a Sweato stage.
I knew I was gonna have to like say it here. Yeah. Well, if you're tuned in now, you know. We curated Sector 3 on Saturday with a absolutely insane lineup, like not normal lineup. I actually have somebody who's playing on it sitting in the room right now.
Do you want to come here? Do you want to jump in?
Yeah.
Do you want to jump in?
I'll jump in. This is Zaina, who goes back to back with 100 Lolita.
Hi, hello. I don't even know what to say.
Anna's very loved here at the station. This is probably like the millionth time you've seen her.
I know, I actually see you a lot on the stories. I'm like, she pulls up everywhere. I love it.
I have a tuition free here at UM, but only off WVUM and EKO. So shout out to EKO and WVM for real. Shout out SDRV too. Shout out Steffi.
Yes.
Hey.
Shout out Steph.
Camera.
SDRV declined any camera appearances today.
But yeah, we got the stage going on, and like I said, the lineup is crazy. I don't really want to like leak all of it because it's just like extremely iconic, and I want it to come out the way that it's supposed to come out.
Surprises are nice.
Me and Jota, I'll tell you off camera. Me and Jota, if you know Jota, Juan Pablo Abascal, he's like
Goated graphic designer.
best graphic designer in Miami right now. Sorry, I don't care what anyone says. Like, that's literally the GOAT. I have the honor and the privilege of working with him on everything having to do with media, graphics, and art for this project, and we're going absolutely ballistic. If you come to the stage, you'll see our artwork on the screens. They're adding screens to Sector 3, which I don't know if you've been to Sector... If anyone knows about Sector 3, it's a very bare-bones stage the last couple of years, but
True.
we're getting an upgrade, and it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot. For real.
And for you personally, who are you most looking forward to seeing play out of like the really big artists?
Are you gonna guess? What were you gonna say?
Just don't leak the Suero lineup.
I'm gonna say one name because you asked the question and my eyes watered. I'm really excited to see Bad Gal. I'm really excited to see Bad Gal and Arca. Those are like the two that I'm like super hyped on, and the two that I kind of like pushed for the most, I would say, this year. Like, my campaign was really like strong. And when I say my campaign, I mean like I would go to my boss and be like, you need to send this offer right now, right now, right now, right now. You don't understand. And then it happened. I say things and then they happened.
Tuvelo. Tuvelo. What? It's Tuvelo. It's I'm so sorry. It's like an internet rotted reference, like to Megan Thee Stallion. Oh. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know, it was like her way of saying like period.
Yeah, okay,
so,
got it.
Period.
Tuvelo.
Tuvelo.
I learn something new every day.
You're really educating us today. Okay, so maybe one or two more questions before we kind of just move on to the details of the giveaway. But in your perspective, what is like the main thing that you've seen change in like the Miami music scene since you've been in it?
This one's obvious, but definitely a lot of younger people, which I love because it means that things are happening and things are real and things are moving. Whereas like when I mean, everyone always has like the same sentiment about like the Miami. It's like it's small and like this and that and the other. But I would say that one constant is that it's still, the thing is, it's always going to be like this because the city is actually
small.
It's small, so like it's always going to be a small community where there's like, I would say, less competition and more so just like people working around each other and with each other, it seems like. But the thing that I've seen change is definitely like a lot of new collectives, a lot of new talent, a lot of new people, a lot of new faces. But I think the consistency is that I think everyone's got the same like respect, I would say.
For
Maybe
sure.
I'm not like as tapped in, but it seems that way. It seems like everyone's kind of like supportive of each other regardless of like what you do.
It was more scattered back in the day.
Yeah.
There wasn't as many people. Maybe there were people that were kind of just like hiding, but it was kind of like just like the same core group of people just doing different things all the time back in the day, whereas like now it just seems like there's just way more young people mixed with like people of my generation.
When I don't know what's going on, it's like a good sign.
Yeah.
If
Or
I'm not
like-
if I'm not tapped in, that means that there's like something else
There's-
happen outside of my peripheral.
There's
that I
always
need to tap
someone, yeah,
into.
there's always like, I feel like there's always someone new constantly coming up, and I think that's super cool, whereas like back in the day it was just like really not like that at all.
Do you guys feel like it's become a point of like it's almost saturated, or do you like think it's
No.
really good that there's like
New
so
York
much
is
innovation?
saturated.
It's
Just
definitely
like you
good.
have like thousands of people just like competing in New York, whereas like
with
here,
the same bit.
yeah,
and, like,
with the same bit,
audiences and, like, the
I feel like
same-
here there's not that many people for it to be saturated, and I think that we have like
I think
a
if
really
anything,
cool
we-
thing going where like everyone just kind of has their own identity here, so there's just room for everyone
Yeah.
right now. So I don't really think, even like on the DJ thing where you know there's always this conversation is like, oh, there's way too many DJs, where I don't feel like there's that many DJs. There's not enough
To my
artists
standard.
here. Yeah.
We need more doctors.
We need more drummers. Where are the drummers at? Anyway.
Where's the drum? I know where the drummers are at.
We need singers. Where y'all
singers.
at?
I'm here. Just kidding.
She's great. She's a great singer. She'll sing all
really?
day in the office.
Y'all don't know that about
Some
me.
lore about her. She sings all day in the office.
I sing all day everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
Y'all don't want to hear it.
Can you do some singing now?
Got the mic.
It's always when I got the mic in my hand that I like clam
She's
up.
a little camera shy.
I do.
No, yeah.
I've tried.
No,
Like,
you're
even
good.
without the camera, you put the mic in front of me. You're like, do the thing. I'm like,
I'm like, you always have something to say. Say
and I'll
something.
be like, la 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 la.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for answering all of those questions. Does anyone have a question? Like just a random question from the, what is it called? The peanut box?
The peanut gallery.
The peanut gallery.
The peanut box.
Let me see. I don't know.
That's
I guess.
a really cool book, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Like, it's giving Harry Potter vibes right now.
I got this from my friend for my birthday.
It's wicked.
She knows I journal. I actually have one journal for each year of my life. I think I have this is like my 7th
Oh
one.
my god.
Yeah, I just fill them up and then I move on to the next.
How do I get one
incredible.
of those?
These I would have to go home and I would like
Don't worry
send you
about it.
a
It sounds like a
thing.
lot. It sounds
No,
like
I
a
think
lot.
it came
I'll
with the
connect
paper.
y'all. I'll
Yeah,
connect
yeah,
y'all.
literally connect us. I'll send you to my people.
Have your people
Our people will talk.
hit my people.
Our people will talk.
I want one of those.
I guess my question would be, I don't know. Okay, so personally, I love, okay, obviously everybody loves graphic design, everybody but like for me, I just want to ask you, because I always help Lola out with like their flyers, for example, like they always say like, oh, just put me in front of the computer and you guide me, and I usually go, okay, da da da. So I would like to ask, where do you find like all your inspiration when it comes to like, okay, like little concepts, etc., etc.? Because I feel like building that aesthetic, that visual, I feel like that's what, like, I don't know, it's what hypes people up. So I guess like my ask to you would be like that. I don't know.
Like, how do I like tap
Like-
into like the?
No, like where do you find like where would you find like your tiny inspos, like your tiny niches, if you will?
So-
Real
like
life.
I was about to say it's all a lot of. I decided earlier this year that I probably was going to stop taking any kind of commission graphic design work because I wanted to pursue it more as like my art than a service. It became very clear to me that it was more difficult to fulfill other people's ideas than it would be for me to have an idea and execute it. So most of my inspiration for my work, which at this point in time is Suerdo, Nick's branding for like anything that's like from a tour flyer to like anything else that's like visual, I kind of try to weigh in on. And then I mean whenever Johnny or Pablo like needs work, but because I get their brains,
I'm also very easy, but also everything is just organic.
it's really it's all pictures.
It all starts off
it's
a
like
picture
all
from
my
real life.
pictures, like it's all my pictures or like his pictures or,
Yeah.
or Nick's pictures, or I really try very hard to like not pull things that like aren't mine, because I don't know, like even like I really love, I don't know if you guys have seen like the tour flyers that I've been making for Nick. Those are all like mix of like my pictures and like his pictures, and it's like of like the time,
which are so beautiful, by the way. I really love it.
They're
No,
all
I
iPhone
love
pictures,
it.
you know that?
No, I know. It's like all about like the tiny little, like, I don't know,
It's
like
about
that's the point, like
connecting
the
dots,
little
and
dots.
it's also
Yeah.
supposed to be like a scrapbook, so it's like memories, and it's a little more personal, and when it's a little more personal, it's a little easier for me to like tap into making it something beautiful, because I feel like it's actually mine. Which is like the same with like the Suerdo stuff. Like I do like a lot of like cut and scan, or like I'll use the Cricut and I'll make sure that the little detail, and I'll peel off the little plastic and I'll stick it right there, and it's just like I'm not trying to like leave it to chance. I'm trying to like make it my own thing for myself, so that I can understand, and then if everyone else likes it, like that's cool. But it's definitely it's very personal, I would say. Like my process is definitely something like I always have to, not in like a selfish way. Well, you're a Leo too, you get it. Yeah,
girl.
it's like it's supposed to be like a reflection, I guess, or like a reflection of what I see.
Also, solidly, I am a Virgo Venus, so I am perfectionist at heart. So it's like I need people to see what I see. I need you to feel what I feel. So
I'm
it's
Cancer
like, yeah.
Venus, but I don't know what that means in terms of this.
Oh, it means like it's how you output like your love. So it's like
That
this
totally
being your
makes
passion. You're
sense.
like, you need everybody to feel at home where you feel. Honestly, that makes sense,
That
because Suero
totally
feels like
makes
a
sense.
home.
Yeah.
Suero feels like when you walk in there, you're like, yo, I'm home.
Sweater's supposed to be like a little bit aesthetically like infantile, like not in terms of like baby, but it's definitely supposed to be like a little bit more like carefree, playful, like those like banners that I put up that they look like they're from like a 4-year-old's birthday party. Like for some reason, like it works. Like I don't know, and it's just supposed to like give you like that like playful reassurance of just like none of this is real, you know. Yeah. Like you live, you die, you laugh. There's music, we have fun. Like we
live, laugh, love.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's my answer.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
Steffi has a question.
Yeah,
for
I have a
Johnny.
question.
Oh man.
Actually, yeah, really quick. Can we get a sign reveal? What's your sign, Johnny?
I actually can't reveal that publicly because
no, guess it.
Just don't hit me with all of them. No. Next question, please.
I'm trying to guess.
No.
Okay, well, I just wanted to know what you have in store in terms of your music and like any upcoming projects or any events coming up. Just like what's up?
I'm overwhelmed. I actually have a lot of I think for like the next month until 3 Points is over, I'm kind of just stressing out about the live set because I'm doing my first like club live set for the festival, which was a dream of mine. I've been blessed and fortunate enough to be able to DJ the last few years at 3 Points, and I kind of felt like I wanted to switch up the vibe a little bit and like just take a risk and like build out a live set just because I work on a lot of music all the time. So that's kind of like occupying my time for like the next month. But I do the label with Nick called Impacto, that we're gonna start rolling out like the next few releases like towards the end of this year and towards the beginning of next year. I have a bunch of solo work that I'm kind of just sitting on that I just don't really know what to like do with all of it, but I'm just
Someone's got to put it out.
So I'm just like slowly building up like the vault and just coming up with like different concepts and stuff for like the solo JFS stuff. Just because I make so much different music. Sometimes I'll make an ambient record, sometimes I'll do like more like IDM stuff, sometimes I'll go full club mode. It's kind of just like all over the place. And then I think one of the things that I really want to focus on for next year is the project that I do with my friend Pablo Arangois, who goes by many aliases.
Shout out Pablo.
Shout out Pablo.
Shout out DJ Fitness.
One of the greatest minds of the Miami music scene.
Somebody to watch for sure. Oh,
if
we should
not
do
the
a list
greatest.
at the end of like the people.
Yes.
Pablo is an insane brain for music, and he just has the capability of just coming up with infinite amounts of concepts and just creates like entire worlds for each concept, and will just like dedicate like, you know, these worlds for that thing. So he'll have like an alias for this, you'll have an alias for that. Anyway, we have this project together called Crespi Drum Syndicate, and it's basically just drum music of all different types. It just trying to just club adjacent and sometimes just like library listening music, somewhere in between all that. But we just put out an album earlier this year, or actually this month.
Yeah,
feels like forever ago, but it was actually the beginning of this month we put out an album. And we felt at the beginning it was very ambitious, and it actually was really well received.
Extremely well received.
And I've been getting some really insane feedback from really big heads, like big producers that I admire and I respect, that I never thought would even pick up on the music, and they've just been reaching out saying really nice things about it, and it's kind of just fueled us to just keep pushing more on it and just like double down on it even harder. And thankfully we have a lot of music that we're sitting on, so we're gonna link up right after this and plot next year and just maybe just come up with some new projects that we want to just ship out to some labels for next year. And so that's just kind of what I have going on.
Admin day.
It's an office day tonight for the Crespi Drum Syndicate, it seems.
But what's the next one up?
Sheesh. I don't know. Maybe more Crespi Drum Syndicate. I mean, we have like 4 albums worth of music that we're sitting on just on the Crespi Drum Syndicate side. And then I have another 2 albums for solo stuff that I'm kind of working on, and then I have like 3 EPs that I'm also just sitting on top of that. And so I'm kind of just like thinking about like at this point like 2027, but but I mean, we're
You guys
just
heard it here first. We can expect new Johnny from Space in 2027.
No, we can expect consistent amounts of Johnny from Space from now until 2027.
baby steps though, one step at a time. Just kind of I think the most important thing is just trying to find the label that will feel like home for like music, because you know you put so much effort into it and you just don't want it to feel like it just kind of goes to waste, because you want to put just as much effort in putting it out as you do making it. So I try to just like, whereas before I was kind of I wanted to just put out as much music as possible because I felt like I wasn't putting out enough music, but now I feel like I just need to scale back a little bit and just like really just take my time and put more care and effort into releasing the music, because we're doing really great stuff and I don't want it to get overlooked, you know? So that's kind of what I have going on.
Thanks so much for sharing. And what can we expect from your live set?
Club music,
Club
drums, bass, but not drum and bass. You know what I mean?
Drums and bass.
Yeah.
Drums and bass.
Drums and bass, but not drum and bass.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you as well to Kate.
Of course, it's a
Thanks
pleasure
for having
to be
us.
here.
Seriously, it's been like
This is
4
like
years.
legendary for me. Yeah, this is my first year back since COVID shut it down.
Wow.
I think
It's
my
been a
last
while.
time was with her, actually.
The last time I don't know if you were here for the Priscilla episode. Oh no, the last time you were here was for your episode. The last time I was literally here was in there, and me, House of Pris, and Jordy drank Coronas while we recorded the last ever in Office Spaced.
Wow.
And now we're here.
How does it feel to be back here?
It feels great. I'm so grateful you even reached out to me. Like, this for me
Of
is
course.
like legendary. For
It's like one of
myself.
those
This
high
is
school
like a milestone
reunions.
for me.
No, of course. It's well deserved. Like, you've made such a name for yourself in the scene, and, you know, just like with who you are as a person too.
Thank you.
But let's do really quickly the who to watch out for in the scene, like who's on the come up.
I just wanted to say that because I was thinking on the way here that I said this to you, and like I was genuinely shocked and disturbed by how crazy Saturday at Floyd got when Mauricio the Invisible was playing. I
Shout
don't know
out
if
the
anyone
GOAT.
was in that room, but he
Mauricio the Invisible,
tore it up.
future GOAT.
Dana
Current
and
GOAT.
Lola for me, like I love these jits. Please.
Pablo Arangois.
Pablo Arangois. Oh yeah, I'm gonna shout out my roster. Also, like side bit, I manage my favorite people. Like
She keeps me together.
Johnny, Pablo, Berraca, and Vifro.
Shout out Berraca.
Shout out Berraca. Shout out Haroldo.
Crazy. Shout out Vifro.
Shout out Vifro. That's my brother. These are my jits. These are my chickens. I take care of them. I want them to get out of the city. I want them to like blow up, and I believe in them that hard. And I don't know who else. I only wanted to do it because I thought about Mauricio's set, and I was like, he tore.
I'm actually really sad I didn't get to see that too.
It's recorded.
The
We can listen
FOMO is kicking. Yeah, but like to like witness it is like a different. The energy, you know.
It's real. It's real.
It's hard to feel that off a recording.
Oh, shout out Bozito too.
Shout out Bolsito. Oh.
Yeah.
Shout out the city.
Shout out the entire
Shout out
city.
Miami. Shout out to
We're doing
the
great,
whole
guys.
goddamn
We're
city.
actually doing great.
Yeah.
Like, this is lit. This whole thing's lit. Okay.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions we have for today. But thank you so much again. But yeah, we are going to get started with the giveaway for those of you who are tuning in specifically for the giveaway. We will be doing 2 weekend passes. So we're going to have 2 winners. One winner will win a weekend pass to the ground, and the second one will win one to Floyd. And that includes all 4 days? Or no?
Yeah, all 4 days.
Okay, all 4 days. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's going to be taking place starting October 17th through October 20th. So we're going to start with the one for the ground. And in honor of 3 points, we're going to be taking the third person that texts the station with your entry for the giveaway. But if you guys want to enter for a chance to win, all you have to do is send a text to 786-309-8861. Once again, that's 786-309-8861 for the ground that whole weekend for the 3-point satellite parties. We have
that
on
Sunday is
Thursday.
sold out, by the way. It's with
Oh,
Sarah
wow.
Landry. So if you get that pass, you're locked in.
Yeah.
Keep it locked.
But yeah, just a quick rundown of who's playing. Thursday, we've got special guest and player Dave. Friday, we have Skin on Skin, BTB Katama, followed by Chloe Robinson, Lake Hills, and Miles a Million. Shout out Miles a Million also.
Shout out Miles.
We also have Saturday, Ben UFO, Oro Halal, Priori, Gio Elia. And Sunday, shout out Gio, yeah, definitely.
Shout out Steph.
Shout out SDRB. Shout out Victory. Victory's behind.
Hey, Victory.
And then we also have Sunday, like how Kata said, that day is sold out. Sarah Landry, Emogen, Ultra Them, and Winter Wrong.
Shout out Summer.
Shout out Summer. Shout out Gami.
Summer right. Shout out Elias Garcia.
Shout out
Shout out
Elias.
Elias.
2 times.
But yeah, if you guys want to enter to win, all you have to do is send a message to 786-309-8861. And then in a little bit, we're going to just give it probably like 5-10 minutes. And then we're going to start with the one for Floyd. So just make sure to stay tuned in.
Keep it locked.
Make sure you keep it locked.
To the
and
voice.
we're just going to get started now with Johnny from Space for a live DJ set.
Oh, damn.
Woo!
Of course.
Thank you guys so much. Just make sure you stay tuned in, and we'll be back shortly.
Should I put the mic down?
Yeah, put the mic down, bro.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, I look so sexy. So hot. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Look like you guys at a family reunion. A family reunion who?
Good times at family reunions. You're asking.
Y'all look like cousins right now. 1, 2, 3, cousins. Okay, I'm done.
Thanks, cousins. I need to do so bad.
Yeah, of course.
With the logo.